My beloved child, there is a moment forming around you that no clock can measure, a quiet alignment that has been building behind ordinary days, behind small conversations, behind the silence you thought meant nothing. And yet, it meant everything. Because what is approaching you now, has been approaching for far longer than you realize. Listen closely, not with your ears, but with that subtle awareness inside you that notices what others miss. Something is shifting, not loudly, not dramatically, but in a way that feels almost too gentle to be real, and that is exactly why it is real. Because the most important arrivals in your life never announce themselves. You may have felt it recently, that strange pause in your routine, that moment where everything seemed to slow down for no reason, as if the world itself hesitated, as if something unseen was waiting, preparing, choosing the exact second when your path and another's would cross again. But here is what no one tells you: this meeting is not meant to be known by everyone. It must stay quiet. It must stay protected. Not because it is fragile, but because it is powerful. There are connections in life that grow in the open, and then there are connections that deepen in silence, away from noise, away from opinions, away from the energy of those who would not understand. This is one of those connections. And somewhere, right now, your soulmate is thinking about you in a way they have never thought before. Not casually, not as a passing memory, but with intention, with a decision forming, one that has been delayed, questioned, reconsidered, and now, finally, accepted. They are coming to see you, but not in the way you expect, not with announcements, not with explanations. There will be no loud declaration, no dramatic entrance, just a presence. A moment that feels almost ordinary on the surface, but beneath it, something deeper will be unfolding. And this is where it becomes important. Don't skip this feeling when it arrives, because it will be subtle, so subtle that part of you might doubt it. You might ask yourself, is this really happening? You might hesitate, wondering if you are reading too much into it. But pause for a second. Why would your heart react the way it does, if nothing meaningful was there? That reaction, that quiet pull, that sudden awareness of them, is not random. It is recognition, and recognition does not need proof, it needs presence. There is a reason this connection has remained in your life, even when distance, silence, or confusion tried to weaken it. There is a reason it never fully disappeared, no matter how much time passed or how much you tried to move forward without looking back. Because some bonds are not meant to be broken, only understood at the right time. And that time is getting closer. You see, your soulmate has been going through something you could not fully see. A phase of realization, of internal conflict, of understanding what truly matters and what was only temporary. They had to walk through certain experiences alone, not to drift away from you, but to return with clarity. Clarity changes everything, because when someone sees clearly, they no longer hesitate the same way. They no longer question what they feel. They no longer run from what is meant for them. And right now, that clarity is guiding them back toward you. Quietly, carefully, almost as if they are protecting the moment before it even happens. Because they know, once this moment unfolds, something between you will shift permanently. Not loudly, not dramatically, but deeply. Have you noticed how sometimes life brings two people close, then pulls them apart, only to bring them back again in a completely different way? That is not confusion. That is timing. And timing is not about when you want something to happen, it is about when both souls are finally ready to meet without resistance. This time, there will be less resistance, less fear, less uncertainty, and more awareness, more intention, more truth. But here is the part that makes this moment rare. It is not meant for everyone to witness. There are people around you, environments around you, even situations in your life, that are not aligned with this connection yet. Not in a negative way, just not in a way that can hold its depth. And that is why this meeting will feel almost hidden. Not secret in a fearful sense, but protected in a meaningful way. Like something sacred that is not meant to be exposed too soon. Think about it. The most valuable things in life are never rushed into the open. They are revealed, slowly, intentionally, at the right moment. And you are stepping into that moment now. But let me ask you something. What if the reason this feels so quiet, so almost invisible, is because it is testing your awareness? Not to challenge you, but to prepare you. Because when something important arrives without noise, only those who are truly present, truly aware, will recognize it. And you are meant to recognize it. You are meant to feel it, even before it fully unfolds. That is why this message is reaching you now, not as a warning, not as a command, but as a gentle alignment, helping you notice what you might otherwise overlook. Because something important is waiting for you, not somewhere far away, but right within your current path. And your soulmate is moving closer into that path, step by step, thought by thought, decision by decision. They may not even fully understand the force guiding them, but they feel it, just like you feel something shifting inside you. And when two people feel that shift at the same time, even from different places, something powerful is already happening. So when the moment comes, don't look for perfection. Don't look for a sign that feels too obvious. Instead, pay attention to what feels familiar, what feels calm, what feels like something you have known before, even if you cannot explain how. Because that is how real connections reveal themselves, not through noise, but through knowing. And as this unfolds, something else will begin to change inside you, something subtle, something quiet, something that feels like you are finally understanding a chapter that once felt incomplete. And just when you begin to sense what this truly means, just when the pieces start coming together, you will realize this was never just about a meeting. It was about a return. But the way that return happens, and what it awakens in both of you, is something you are only beginning to see. Something about this moment will feel almost unreal, not because it is distant or dramatic, but because it arrives so gently that your mind may try to dismiss it, even while your heart quietly recognizes it. And right there, in that small space between doubt and knowing, everything begins to unfold in a way you did not expect. There is a shift happening behind the scenes of your life, not in the places you usually look, but in the unseen layers where intentions are formed, where decisions are made before they become actions. Your soulmate has been standing at that invisible edge for longer than you think, holding back, stepping forward, then holding back again, not because they did not care, but because they were not ready to carry the truth of what this connection means. But something changed. Not suddenly, not in one dramatic realization, but through a series of quiet understandings that kept returning, again and again, until they could no longer be ignored. You know that feeling, when a thought follows you, no matter how much you try to distract yourself, when something inside keeps whispering, "This matters," even when everything outside feels uncertain. That is what they have been experiencing. And the more they tried to silence it, the stronger it became. Because some truths are patient, but they are also persistent. They do not disappear. They wait until the moment when you are finally ready to listen. And now, they are listening. Not to the noise around them, not to expectations or opinions, but to something deeper, something quieter, something that feels unmistakably real. And that realization is leading them, step by step, closer to you. But here is where it becomes delicate. They are not coming with loud intentions. They are not coming with a plan that can be explained in simple words. They are coming with a feeling, a pull, a quiet certainty that something unfinished is waiting between you. And that is why this meeting must remain unseen by most. Because the moment is still forming. It is still fragile in its early stage, not weak, but new in a way that needs space to grow without interference. When something is still becoming, too many voices can confuse it, too many eyes can distort it, too much attention can make it lose its natural direction. So it stays quiet, protected, almost hidden in plain sight. And you will feel it before you fully understand it. You might notice a sudden change in your thoughts, a memory returning with unusual clarity, a feeling of calm where there used to be confusion. You might find yourself pausing for no reason, as if something inside you is preparing, even if you cannot explain what for. Don't ignore those moments. They are not random. They are signals, not loud enough to overwhelm you, but strong enough to guide you, if you allow yourself to stay present. Because presence is everything right now. If you rush, you may miss it. If you overthink, you may doubt it. But if you stay still, if you allow yourself to simply feel without forcing meaning, you will begin to notice how everything is aligning in ways that cannot be explained logically. And then, there will be a moment, not announced, not planned, just there. It could be a place you have been before, a situation that seems ordinary, a conversation that starts simply, but carries something unspoken beneath it. And in that moment, when your eyes meet, or when your awareness touches theirs, something will pause again. Not the world, but your world. And suddenly, everything that once felt unclear, will begin to make sense, not in full detail, but in a way that feels enough. Enough to recognize. Enough to understand that this is not coincidence. But here is the part that may surprise you. They may not say everything they feel. Not yet. Because even though they are closer than before, even though they have gained clarity, they are still navigating how to express something that goes deeper than words. So instead of expecting explanations, watch for presence. Watch for the way they look at you, the way their energy feels around you, the way their attention shifts, not dramatically, but meaningfully. Because sometimes, the most honest truths are not spoken, they are shown in the smallest details. And those details will reveal more than any conversation could. This is why patience becomes important here, not forced patience, but natural patience, the kind that comes when you sense that something is unfolding at its own perfect pace. You are not meant to rush this. You are meant to witness it, to feel it, to allow it to become what it is meant to become, without trying to control it too early. Because control can interrupt what timing is trying to build. And timing, right now, is working in your favor. But let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how certain moments in life feel like they carry more weight than others, even when nothing obvious is happening? That is because some moments are not just moments. They are turning points. And this quiet meeting, is one of those turning points. Not because it changes everything instantly, but because it changes something inside both of you, something that will influence everything that follows. After this, things will not feel the same. Not in a dramatic way, but in a deeper, more subtle way, like a shift in understanding, like a door opening that cannot be closed again. And this is where your awareness becomes even more important, because what happens next will depend not only on them, but also on how you respond to this moment. Not through actions alone, but through your energy, your presence, your ability to remain grounded while something meaningful is unfolding. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to force clarity. You don't need to chase explanations. All you need to do is recognize. Recognize the feeling. Recognize the shift. Recognize the truth that has been quietly growing between you, even when it was not visible. Because recognition is the beginning of alignment. And alignment leads to something that cannot be rushed, but also cannot be stopped once it truly begins. There may still be questions. There may still be moments of uncertainty, but they will not feel the same as before. Because now, there will be a foundation forming, something steady, something real, something that does not depend on constant reassurance. And slowly, without forcing it, communication will begin to change. Not necessarily through long conversations, but through clarity in small things, through honesty in simple moments, through a sense that both of you are no longer avoiding what is there. And as this continues, something even deeper will start to reveal itself. Something that has been hidden not just from others, but even from both of you. A realization, not about the past, but about what this connection truly means moving forward. Because this is not just about reconnecting. It is about understanding why this connection never truly left. And when that understanding arrives, it will not feel overwhelming, it will feel right. As if a missing piece has quietly returned to where it always belonged. But here is where the story becomes even more interesting. Because just as things begin to align, just as clarity starts to settle in, something unexpected will appear, not to break the connection, but to test its depth. Not in a difficult way, but in a way that asks both of you to be honest, not just with each other, but with yourselves. And that moment, that quiet test, will reveal something that neither of you can ignore anymore, something that will shape what happens next in a way you are not yet fully prepared to see. And just when everything begins to feel steady, something almost invisible shifts again, like a quiet ripple passing through still water, gentle, but impossible to ignore once you notice it. This is the moment where the connection stops being something you wonder about, and starts becoming something you feel, deeply, consistently, undeniably. It will not arrive as confusion. It will arrive as clarity, but a different kind of clarity. One that does not answer every question, yet somehow removes the need to ask them. You will feel it in the way your thoughts slow down when they are near, in the way silence between you no longer feels empty, but full, almost as if something is being communicated without words. And for a brief second, you may even question it. Why does this feel so natural? Why does this feel like I've known this forever? But don't rush to answer, just stay with that feeling. Because that feeling is the truth revealing itself. There is a reason why this connection had to move through distance, through pauses, through moments that felt uncertain. It was not to create confusion, it was to create depth. Because without those spaces, you would not recognize the difference between something temporary and something that quietly remains, no matter what changes around it. And now, you are recognizing it, not with your mind, but with something much deeper. But here is where the path becomes more refined, more intentional. Because this connection is no longer asking, will this happen? It is asking, how will you hold it? That is a very different question. Because when something real begins to take shape, it requires presence, not reaction, awareness, not assumption, trust, not control. And this is where that unexpected moment begins to unfold, the one that was quietly hinted at before. It may not look like a challenge at first. In fact, it may look like a simple situation, a small misunderstanding, a pause in communication, or even a moment where something feels slightly off, just enough to make you notice, but not enough to create distance. And in that moment, you will feel a choice forming inside you, a very quiet choice. Do you react based on past patterns, or do you respond based on what you feel now? Do you question everything, or do you trust what has already been shown to you? Do you step back in doubt, or stay present in awareness? This is not a test to confuse you. It is a moment to anchor you, because the way you move through this will define the energy of what comes next. And something within you already knows the answer, even if you haven't fully realized it yet. You are not the same person you were before. You don't feel the same uncertainty. You don't carry the same hesitation. There is something steadier in you now, something that understands without needing constant reassurance. And when you choose from that place, something powerful happens. The connection deepens, not through effort, but through alignment. And your soulmate, they will feel that shift. Even if they don't express it immediately, they will notice it. They will sense that you are no longer approaching this with confusion, but with calm clarity, with a quiet confidence that does not demand, but simply exists. And that changes everything. Because when one person holds that energy, the other naturally begins to meet it. Not forcefully, not instantly, but gradually, in a way that feels real. And this is where their truth begins to move closer to the surface. Not all at once, not in a single conversation, but in small openings, small moments where they reveal just a little more than before, where they allow themselves to be seen, not completely, but enough to show that something inside them is shifting too. And you will notice it, in the way they stay a little longer, in the way they listen more carefully, in the way their presence becomes more intentional, more aware, more connected. These are not accidents. These are signals. Signals that the distance that once existed is no longer the same. But here is the deeper realization that begins to form. This connection was never about chasing each other. It was about becoming ready for each other. And readiness is what you are stepping into now. Not perfect readiness, not complete understanding, but enough to move forward without fear, enough to stay without hesitation, enough to recognize that what is unfolding is not something you need to question anymore. And as this realization settles in, something else will begin to rise. A quiet sense of peace, not excitement alone, not intensity alone, but peace. The kind of peace that does not come from external validation, but from an internal knowing that you are exactly where you are meant to be, experiencing exactly what you are meant to experience, with someone who was never truly separate from your path. And in that peace, you will start to see things differently. Moments that once felt uncertain will now feel meaningful. Silences that once felt confusing will now feel comfortable. And the connection itself will begin to feel less like something you are trying to understand, and more like something you are simply living. But there is still one more layer, one more unfolding, that has not fully revealed itself yet. Because as this connection becomes more real, more grounded, more present, something else begins to emerge from within both of you. A truth that has been waiting, not just to be felt, but to be acknowledged. And this truth is not about the past. It is about the future. Not in a fixed, overwhelming way, but in a gentle realization that this connection is not temporary, not something that will fade once the moment passes. It is something that has direction, something that is meant to evolve. And when that realization begins to settle, there will be a moment, a very quiet moment, where both of you feel it at the same time, even if neither of you speaks it out loud. A shared awareness, a silent understanding, a knowing that what is happening between you is only the beginning of something much deeper. And when that moment arrives, it will not feel dramatic. It will feel certain, as if something inside both of you finally stopped searching, finally stopped questioning, and simply recognized what has been there all along. But just as that certainty begins to form, just as everything starts to feel aligned in a way that is almost too perfect to question, something unexpected will gently shift once more. Not to take anything away, but to reveal something even deeper that neither of you has fully faced yet, something that will require not just feeling, not just awareness, but a new level of honesty that will change the way this connection moves forward, in a way you are only beginning to sense.